Okey, Assalamualaikum. Apa khabar? Selamat petang hari Isnin. Hari ini 9 November 2020 bersama dengan saya dan juga Ibu Ros. Selamat datang kepada anda semua yang menonton Rice Bowl for our second series which is Founder and Friends. Assalamualaikum Ibu.
Waalaikumsalam. Gini, thank you inviting Ibu buat second time. Alhamdulillah dapat kita sama-sama lagi.
Terima kasih banyak-banyak kerana sudi untuk bersama dengan saya dalam siri live kita di Rice Bowls ni untuk pengetahuan Ibu dan juga penonton-penonton Rice Bowl. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and share, comment as well, dan saya akan bacakan dekat komen kalau anda ada apa-apa persoalan dan pertanyaan untuk Ibu Ros. For your information, Ibu Ros is a love guru. Love guru. Saya perlukan banyak nasihat love sebenarnya.
Boleh.
Love kan. Dan 31 tahun berpengalaman dalam training, pembangunan modal insan, a lot of counselling, consulting. Also I think in the not to say in the business but in the area of well-being.
Bayangkan ya, 31 tahun. Wow. Masa itu umur Ibu berapa je?
Nak share ke?
Yeah, I'm 60 now. You 60 tolak 31 apa? 29.
Yes. Wow. So kita tak bolehlah saya cakap, saya rasa susah nak sangkal kerana dalam 29 tahun tu saya pasti Ibu dah berjumpa dengan pelbagai jenis orang dan dah study pelbagai jenis perangai dan you know.
Betul. Perkembangan kita pun ini dari cara kita melihat masa kita muda dan cara kita melihat bila dah berumur. Ibu tak rasa Ibu ni tua, tapi ialah umur je meningkat.
Young at heart.
Young at heart, yes.
Jadi mungkin Ibu Ros boleh bercerita sedikit kepada penonton-penonton Rice Bowl. Juga kita kongsikan session ini dekat di bilik, Facebook di bilik dan juga Facebook Ibu Ros. Assalamualaikum bagi peminat-peminat Ibu Ros semua yang sedang menonton. Thank you kerana luangkan masa hari ini. Tapi kita juga ada penonton-penonton baru yang mungkin nak berkenalan dengan Ibu Ros. Mungkin Ibu Ros can share a little bit about your experiences, your background, you know, and your what triggered your interest to be or to study human well-being ni?
Okay, sebenarnya nak katakan what triggered, actually I think I am born into the family maybe because my arwah father was a teacher. So memang rasa sangat natural nak tahu tentang mengenai what make a person what the person, apa yang menyebabkan orang tu rasa nak buat benda and all these things lah. I still remember Tini when I was in Form 1 boarding school. Jadi hari pertama sampai kat situ, jadi malam tu nak tidur, ada seorang yang one of the student ni kat depan katil Ibu, dia menangis. Saya tak nak naik katil, saya pun tak nak, dia tak nak pergi tidur, dia menangis sebab dia rindukan mak dia. So I be happy. At that age, 13 years old, I became the counselor and I helped her to change her mind, take care of herself, mandi, buat semua, pergi tidur. So if you ask that question, what trigger, I think it could be innate. Then also melihatkan melihat tentang Ibu ni selalu suka memikirkan macam mana, apa yang menyebabkan manusia jadi macam ni, apa yang menyebabkan. So that caused me to go deeper into human psychology ataupun psychology of the self-actualization. Jadi Ibu mengkaji jauh ke dalam, ke sana. So to go very deep, and that got me the international trainer for neurosemantic NLP. So di antara perkaranya lah level trainer tu sebenarnya dia, trainer tu kalau nak kira kan, kalau trainer NLP ni dia level macam PhD untuk universiti lah. sebab dia dalam bidang neurosemantik tu yang paling tinggi, macam tu lah. So alhamdulillah I managed to and it's so wonderful to learn how people the inner game that how people play inside their mind that cause them to be successful or not successful, Tini. Tak sama cara berfikir orang yang berjaya dengan cara fikir orang yang belum berjaya, yang susah nak berjaya. Yes, lain.
Jadi itu yang trigger ibu tu, like I want to study about the human, I mean what make them tick. Macam mana, kenapa A berjaya, kenapa B boleh gagal padahal mereka adalah sama, maybe same background kan. So
and I was one of those people who went into self-sabotaging. So I was in school being jadi seorang ketua pelajar, annual prefects and all that. Been quite okay in school, doing very well. Pergi abroad, study in England, and then I failed my study, and because I wanted to take care of my children rather than to study, so I failed my study. And I thought that I failed my study to become a better mother, tapi sebenarnya menjadi better singer harimau.
Oh, okay.
Bukan singer menyanyi, singer harimau. So it's like, because that's what happened when you don't go for your greatness, kan. Jadi Tini boleh bayang tak ibu, you tengok ibu sekarang, can you ever imagine ibu punya takut nak order kat counter KFC?
Bila tu?
It was in 1986. I want to tell the story.
Okay, so I just backtrack just to understand the context of it. Okay, so you also started because you weren't optimizing your potential.
I went into failure mindset.
Yep. You went into failure mindset. You sabotage yourself. Kan? You sabotage yourself until ada scenario you tak boleh nak order KFC dekat counter sebab takut.
Sebab takut gila. Kalau boleh tambah lagi gila tu. Takut sangat-sangat at that time, 1986. So I told you that I failed my studies kat England, kan? So during the time sementara tu, masa kat England tu, I think I failed in 1983. There was 3 years before that episode happened. Dia dah balik ke Malaysia, my husband dah dapat dia punya degree, so I became a housewife that hated myself. Nothing wrong about being a housewife. It's good.
Okay, the failure was because
because I didn't study good enough. Yeah, and I made a decision because I was lazy. I made a decision to do things half-heartedly and decided kononnya nak jadi ibu misali.
Okay, so you said that your life purpose is okay lah. This is not meant for me. Mungkin I'm going to be a homemaker.
In a way, yes, but at the age of 21 and 22, 23, you just imagine lah, kan, that things are not clear. So macam rasa bersemangat nak jadi ibu yang hebat, cemerlang. So want to focus on being a wife, a mother, staying at home. And I think looking back at hindsight, it was just an excuse not to do well. In my studies. Okay, I have to be honest lah kat sini. It's just that lah sebenarnya. Sometimes that's why bila student are giving a lot of excuses, I can detect that. I know.
Because I've been there.
Been there.
Yes.
Tapi cerita yang ibu nak cerita ni akan berkait dengan mental illness ni, kan, mental health ni. At that time, masa tu, my husband belanja makan KFC, baru balik pada, baru dapat gaji, so first time dapat gaji, so kondoklah nak pergi ke restoran. Masa tu KFC was great, still is great, still great. Differentnya macam ni sekarang ni, dulu kalau makan KFC itu maksudnya a treat. Sekarang ni kalau beli makanan KFC maksudnya tak sempat masak. So macam tu.
Betul. Ataupun macam ni lah. Anak-anak minta, but boleh kena limit dah sekarang ni, no more than once a week, that's it.
Yes. So masa tu kalau masuk masa tu my thinking was okay, pergi KFC, my husband selalunya dia yang order, but that day tu dia suruh ibu order. So ibu ni, it is KFC. It is an English restaurant. So need to speak in English. You know, baru balik pada England, and I was an English medium. Zaman dulu ada English medium, ada Malay medium. I can speak in English, but this is one thing. Bila kita ada isu dengan diri kita, all kita punya perception dari diri kita, itu menyebabkan kita lost kita punya strength tu. So ibu pun debate lah dalam rehearse lah. Kat tempat duduk tu tak ada order lagi KFC-nya. So my husband pun cakap lah bila nak order. So I pergi dengan takutnya and I order, may I have 2 dinner plates. Sebab ada S, ada dua. And budak tu pun terkejut tengok apa makcik ni kan, apa orang ni macam ni. So at that time tu I could hear, maybe my mind was it, my inner voice was saying, where is that Rosita? My name is Rosita. Where is that Rosita? Where is that leader? Person yang so confident dulu kat sekolah. Mana pergi dia? Masa itulah the wake up call. And you say what triggers? That was the moment.
So that triggers because macam, you know, yelah kita fikir how long are we going to
be in that darkness?
Sampai bila kita akan minta orang lain buat sesuatu untuk kita.
Yes, betul. Yeah.
So that is the trigger. So having said that, kita nak relate pada topik kita hari ni kan, perasaan takut, perasaan sebenarnya kalau saya ni kalau saya boleh explain atau gambarkan entrepreneurship, keusahawanan I think people who venture into entrepreneurship actually have a certain mindset yang already very gung-ho kan. Kalau tidak dia tak akan buat bisnes, betul tak? Dia tak akan join business sebab so many risks and so many things is at stake, okay?
Betul.
Dan sekarang ni dalam keadaan kita, saya rasa this is our third MCO lah, okay? Because the first one was in March, and then kita dapat kita punya freedom sekejap bulan Jun Julai, kids are in school, and then just 1 month ago Klang Valley dan juga Sabah telah pun sekali lagi anak-anak tak bersekolah, dan sekarang ini sehingga ke tahun hadapan lah dilanjutkan dan saya rasa untuk saya sendiri yang mempunyai bisnes lah, kita nampaklah dia punya light tu, nampaklah light dia bulan Jun, Julai, Ogos tu kan, wah okay kita dah boleh start pergi plan here and there. Tapi saya rasa bila kembali kepada MCO ni dan kita tengok kenaikan COVID-19 cases dia makin meningkat, mungkin this is also year end November, December, banyak bisnes yang tertanya-tanya apa yang menanti mereka pada tahun 2021. Dan saya rasa banyak juga saya just sekilas pandang je lah ibu dekat kawasan perumahan saya ni pun banyak kedai-kedai pun dah start tutup, dah naik dah dia punya for rent, for sale kan. Jadi kita sebagai pembeli pun kita depressed lah. Kedai ni dah tutup lah, kesian kan, what happened to the owner we used to buy from them. Apatah lagi business owner tersebut. So saya rasa today's topic is entrepreneur, usahawan dan juga kesihatan mental. Sebab saya pun ada tarik sikit facts from what I read dekat carian internet saya. Forbes magazine stated that 72% usahawan mengalami depression berbanding 48 yang bukan usahawan. Okay, dan menurut fakta yang saya dapat juga ini, 3 daripada 10 adult suffer from some form of mental health. Okay, and I think this climate juga tak membantu. Dan tapi ini something yang kita tak boleh control. Yeah. So mungkin Ibu sendiri from your observation, okay, for entrepreneurs, maybe you have contact, maybe you have spoken to people, macam mana landscape mental health usahawan?
Actually bila kita whatever that you said just now tu memang banyak kebenarannya, because bila dalam keadaan berlakunya COVID-19 ni banyak jalan sumber ataupun sumber pendapatan itu tertutup, especially bila ianya melibatkan perjumpaan. Contohnya my my training business contohnya. Yang mana I kena conduct training, event program, event punya business contohnya. Restaurant punya business contohnya. Banyak lagi. Jadi yes, a lot ramai juga kawan-kawan yang apa namanya, yang sedih
terkesan.
Kita kata terkesan. Dalam masa yang sama, I would like to bring a story of a true story. Maybe apa namanya, you can help me show the sungai. Yeah, there is this sungai yang telah dibina, yeah, pada, kalau tak silap, in 1994. Nama dia, ibu minta maaf ya, ibu tak berapa pandai nak sebut nama ni. Tapi kejap ya, ada fakta ni, ibu kena refer kat sini sekejap. Okay, sungai ini dibina. Kalau kita tengok gambar yang pertama, before, nampak tak sungai pula, jambatan itu dibina, nampak tak jambatan itu di bawahnya ada sungai yang lalu, nampak? Dan ianya sebenarnya namanya Sungai Choluteca. Terletak di Honduras, Amerika Tengah.
Okey, Honduras.
Okay, dan dia dibina bermula tahun 1996. Okay, dan macam itulah, cantik macam tu. But berlakunya banjir yang besar, dan you can see after banjir itu, can you see jambatan tu pelik? Tak ada apa lalu kat bawah dia, sungai kat tepi lain, kat lain. So ini adalah, kita kata in 1998, kalau ibu tak silap, berlakunya banjir itu. Kalau kita ni peka, kita kena peka dengan sebagai entrepreneur, banyak world lesson yang Allah tunjuk, datangkan kepada kita, God send to us for us to see and learn. So kalau kita tengok dalam keadaan ini, arus sungai itu telah berubah, jalan sungai itu telah berubah. Yeah, there was a book called Who Moved My Cheese.
Who Moved My Cheese, yes, very popular book.
Yes, and Who Moved My Cheese is actually a very very good book. Siapa yang boleh dapat the book tu, please get the book. Ibu tak dapat commission pun cakap pasal benda ni, because Who Moved My Cheese give us the perspective of, as an entrepreneur, kita kena be flexible. Seperti keadaan yang macam berlaku pada sungai ni, kalau kita tengok, benda ni arus sungai tu dah berubah. And apa yang berlaku di sini memberi kepada kita gambaran bahawa semasa COVID-19 ini, ada entrepreneur yang berjaya, ada entrepreneur yang tak berjaya. Yang mana yang berjaya ini adalah dia mempunyai satu sikap, satu attitude yang bagus, iaitu flexibility. Flexibility ni maksudnya dia nampak kat mana ruang dia boleh berubah. Macam mana dia boleh maintain the business, but cara pengendalian bisnes itu mungkin atau totally a different business. That is why kenapa dia boleh buat macam tu ini adalah kerana dia jelas tentang apakah matlamat bisnes. Matlamat bisnes adalah to add value, ya, untuk menambah nilai ke dalam hidup masyarakat. Kalau matlamat bisnes hanya untuk buat duit, you will find it difficult. At the same time, as a Muslim, we go another notch higher. Matlamat business is to mendapat redha daripada Allah SWT. So, bila kita ada pegangan macam tu, the business does not work anymore. My business, training business, sempat buat sekali je pada bulan 9 hari tu. Satu program fizikal dalam SOP. Bukan senang juga tu. Sempat satu program. And in fact, we were about to do another series of program sebelum MCO. But the thing is, for me, if I were to cry, there's nothing is going to happen. Nothing good going to happen to me and my children and my family and my staff. So I must be flexible to see if I were to do training, how can I do training and it is masih boleh. So mungkin sekarang ni melalui Zoom dan sebagainya, dan alhamdulillah ibu ada program-program melalui online. You understand that? So you might see me smiling because as an entrepreneur, this is something that we need to hold. When the going get tough, the tough get going. Yeah. memang as entrepreneur, bila kita masuk saja dalam perniagaan as an entrepreneur, we need to understand our mindset need to change, the way we look at things needs to change. Kita tak boleh lagi entitlement mindset, kita kena take ownership of whatever that we do. Every single cent count, you know, and you need to know how to be flexible in managing your money, all that. And that is why not everybody can become an entrepreneur, but if you learn, you can.
It's a learn trade lah. Dan
It's a learn.
kat sini,
Yes.
saya nak ambil kesempatan, saya nak ucapkan selamat datang, good afternoon and good evening ke, selamat petang lah kepada mereka yang menonton. Kita ada Rohaida Hood, Na Asfiq, hello korang, Irini Yani, Nabil Jalil, Umi Aiman, Yasmin Sari cakap matlamat business to add value, flexibility. I totally agree with that. Mendapat redha Allah, I think it's also a time for reflection for entrepreneurs juga, kan. Kita buat mungkin sebelum ni tak terfikir kan, buat bisnes macam saya buat bisnes, buat je lah, nak buat je. Maybe now saya alamak, what's my big why?
Yes. That is one big why. Big why, and there is also a spiritual why. Yeah.
Jadi untuk so kalau kita tahu kita punya big why dan kita mungkin I like what Ibu said just now, kalau kita fikir untuk buat bisnes ni untuk duit sahaja, untuk mengaut keuntungan, dan kerana COVID ni macam mana kita nak gaut keuntungan bila tak ada sale, orang tak datang, orang tak beli, orang tak ada kerja, orang tak boleh nak spend. Itu yang kita go into depression.
Yes, because we stop thinking, we start in thinking that the business have to be business tu kena dilakukan macam tu. Bila orang kata susah nak buat business sebab kita tak boleh jumpa orang. The question is jangan cakap what you ask your mind, it will give an answer. For example, like kalau kita tanya susah ke nak buat bisnes kalau tak jumpa orang? Memang susah lah kan. Sebab bisnes memang kena jumpa orang. Tapi kalau kita kata macam mana saya boleh continue my business walaupun saya tak boleh jumpa orang.
So kita sentiasa berfikir di luar kotak lah ni.
Ya, keluar kotak. So you ask the right question. So the right question, for example, I really applaud many restaurant. Dia tahu dah memang tak akan senang orang nak datang. So dia akan buat je wadah yang apa semua and they send to the home. Of course, bila berlaku macam tu, can you see the movement of the business? Kita kena guna banyak, kita panggil food panda, apa nama lagi? Kita panggil apa?
Grab
and all that.
Galamu. Nampak tak? Saya pakailah tu.
That it create a different sungai untuk orang-orang. You got me what I'm trying to say. So people who are very flexible and can see the situation and ask the question, how kata orang nak makan, how can I serve these people? Macam mana, how can my business reach my customers? How they cannot go out? What are the limitation? Tak boleh keluar. So if they tak boleh keluar, can my food reach them? Yes, it can.
Jadi mungkinlah itu macam kita usahawan pun kena selalu berfikir macam mana nak sustain, macam mana nak survive. Tapi macam kita go back to mungkin itu yang ada that realization. Tapi at this point kan macam ada usahawan yang mungkin like alamak I have to cut cost, mungkin I have to let go some stuff. Lepas tu I dah tak nampak macam bergaya macam dulu. Lepas tu macam tak meriah. So mungkin dia rasa macam like kegagalan. Mungkin kegagalan tu yang membawa kepada kita kan manusia kan, tergurislah ego. Macam I cannot spend like how I used to, and then you feel bad kan, they have to let go stuff kan. I mean, saya rasa tak ada majikan pun yang happy untuk let go mana-mana stuff.
Tak ada.
Tapi staff akan merasakan majikan dia tak sayang kat saya, pasal tu dia let go. Tapi sebab dia kena see the bigger picture. So mungkin bos rasa tertekan. So itu dia akan feel very sad lah kan. And then some dwell into really affect dia punya well-being juga. So how is that, Ibu?
Okay, the situation dia begini ini sebenarnya there was a word that you mentioned just now, that is the ego part. Right? Dia sebenarnya ramai orang dia kaitkan esteem diri dia dengan barang-barang dia, dengan kejayaan dia, dengan kita panggil apa, achievement tu kejayaan lah kan, benda yang dia ada, macam rumah dan sebagainya. Mereka mengaitkan how hormat is diri mereka ini, hormat diri mereka dengan benda-benda tu semua. Tetapi sebenarnya kita ini, our beingness, this is hormat diri is beingness, esteem is beingness. Kita ni indah dan cantik, ciptaan Allah ni unconditional sebenarnya. So kalau bila kita cuba kaitkan, itu yang kita jadi runsing, itu yang kita bercara berfikir kita tu yang tak serving us. Ibu tak suka kata salah, ibu kata not serving us, not resourceful. You know, there's nothing wrong about when you have driven a Mercedes and to downgrade and drive kancil. It's still a car. It's still bringing you from point A to B. You know, if it need to be done then, maka lakukanlah, because this is the flexibility of seorang entrepreneur, because dia tahu during this time the need is to sustain the business, or maybe to cut certain loss, and the business has to go on. What can I give away? What can I not to continue having? So kalau kita kata pakai yang bergaya, maybe we pakai baju yang sama tapi dengan perasaan bersyukur, and then cara keterampilan kita itu tetap cantik, tetap menarik, because it is an inside out, it is not out in.
Betul. Macam kita pun kena fikirlah, kita drive Mercedes ni untuk siapa?
Yeah, there are people who say that they
to impress others or to impress myself. It's nice to drive one, but
yeah, it's nice actually. I have driven one, and I've downgraded my car. I've upgraded again. You know, the thing is to know that you are not your car. You are not your
self-worth. Self-worth kita ni bukan. Dan kalau orang kata, you punya business tutup, you know.
So business
jadi
tutup.
Banyak noise kan. Jadi kita rasa macam failure lah nanti.
Yes. That's why to understand that is not a failure. That is just a learning lesson, a world lesson. Okay, your business tutup, tapi you tengok apa yang you masih ada. You masih ada family you want together. You masih ada lagi things, ideas that you can create to make a business. Because at that particular time, the business, sebab lagi ni, Kartini, between, you perasan tak, kejadian COVID ni dengan before COVID ni, dia macam malam ni kita tidur, tak COVID, besok pagi COVID. It is sudden, very sudden. Jadi banyak entrepreneur tak sempat nak adjust sana sini. Yes, tak sempat. Even though sikit-sikit dah nampak sebulan dah ni, but people were in denial in many situations. Dan masa tu apa nak buat? Nak buat apa? Kita tak tahu. So that is why as an entrepreneur ni, cara berfikir kita kena sangat-sangat berbeza. And kita kena cari circle yang sangat positif. The people who are positive, and go to the place where there are a lot of opportunities. Jangan duduk menangis dekat bisnes yang sekarang ni ada, because the cheese have moved. The cheese dah pergi dah. Ibu tak nak menangis dah pasal training bisnes ibu. But I know people call, boleh tak ibu buat Zoom class, and I still buat. When I can do, and of course bila Zoom dengan training, dia punya price pun beza. Yeah. So I go and find business that I can do during this time, an online business, and I found it. And I feel so happy, because you know what? Because I'm surrounded by people who are positive, and people when people are crying duit tak ada, kat sini alhamdulillah every week that we are receiving, because the way the business is. So to understand, the cheese masih ada, but they just have been moved. Sungai tu masih ada, cuma dia dah berubah. So kena tengok kat mana kita nak cari and be very flexible, because once you understand, tujuan bisnes adalah mencari redha Allah, you boleh buat apa pun bisnes. Jual nasi lemak pun tak apa. Kan? Jadi
betul. I mean macam saya banyak baca tentang bagaimana flexibility ni bukan saja daripada orang bisnes, daripada mereka yang bekerja dan tiba-tiba kehilangan kerja. Pilot yang tak tahu bila lagi dia akan terbang kini membuka gerai, now open a stall selling food. In fact banyak juga yang buka bisnes yang lain daripada apa yang mereka mula-mula belajar. So jadi istilah macam, oh that's not my expertise, oh I never specialized in that, oh I never studied that. So
that's why you go into mental sickness. Because you're not flexible. Betul tak Tini?
Yalah, sebab kita berpegang pada, oh I used to do this, I've been doing this for 15 years kan. So kita berpegang pada cheese yang dah move tu.
Where's the cheese? Tini, sekejap you continue cakap. Ibu nak
okay. So basically kepada anda yang masih lagi menonton, thank you so much. I think I just want to say hello to Yasmin. Don't give up. Yes. Thank you Yasmin Sari. Yasmin Sari said means apa yang jadi itu bukanlah gagal, tapi adalah lesson dalam hidup kita. Kita boleh fleksibel. But for those of you who's just started watching, welcome untuk series kedua Live Rice Bowl, Founders and Friend. Dan friend saya hari ini ialah Ibu Ros, seorang yang banyak pengalaman dalam the well-being and also spiritual entrepreneurship bahasa panggil
Yes, spiritual entrepreneurship. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's so nice.
So far, I think apa yang kita dah discuss ni pasal entrepreneur dan mental health adalah entrepreneur kena fleksibel. Okay? Entrepreneur kena fleksibel. So which means kalau kita buat business macam Ibu sendiri cakap, I buat business training, memang depend on event, memang kena pergi training, 2 hari, 3 hari kan. Tapi sekarang ini bila training tak boleh dikendalikan di hotel ataupun di tempat klien, kena tukarlah. So jadi Ibu sendiri cakap tadi, if we have to move into F&B and where that is where the sustainability is going to be, kita perlu ada mindset yang kita sanggup berubah, kan?
Yes, betul.
Okay. Satu lagi saya just recap apa yang kita dah bincangkan tadi, Ibu. Kita juga kena tahu kita buat bisnes ni untuk apa. Kalau kita buat semata-mata untuk duit, untuk kautkan keuntungan, inilah
maka itu jelah dapatnya.
Itu yang membuatkan kita depressed, very sad, very resah, gelisah, kerana kita saya nak pakai perkataan, saya tak jumpa perkataan tu, tapi saya ada perkataan dalam kepala saya, maksudnya kita berhalakan, we depend solely, or we glorify that purpose lah. So look at other purposes, like for example adding value to other people, Yeah, and the ego part, kena manage lah ego. Maksudnya tak apalah kalau kena scale down kan. Jadi
kita scale down does not mean the thing that other people pun kena scale down juga. So apa cepat scale down je when the situation happen kan.
Yeah. So right now is siapa yang scale down lagi cepat. Kalau you scale down lambat, you rugi banyak lah.
Banyak. So kita kena faham, there are people who have already found their keys sebab dia sanggup pergi tengok tempat lain. There are people yang nampak sungai, dia nampak sungai mengalir, dia dah pandai dah cari sungai tu. So ini kiasan yang lain. Sebabnya entrepreneur, when we say that we are an entrepreneur, our mindset need to be different. Kita tak boleh just client customers dah tak datang dah. Macam kenapa customers tak datang dah? Dan kita mula nak marah customers, tak boleh. Customers ni dia orang ada pilihan. Ya, dia orang ada pilihan dan dia orang kita kena datang pada mereka. I remember when the first MCO, there was this kedai roti tau. Masa zaman tu ingat tak the first MCO? Gardenia susah nak buat. Do you remember?
Sold out.
My taman ni, orang-orangnya bagus tau. Bila diorang pergi, diorang dapat beli lebih. Because mungkin dia datang lebih pada, mungkin dia pergi berdua ke. I don't know how they get lebih. So dia akan letak kat rumah. Dia kata, okay, siapa nak gardenia bila datang ambil. Those kind of thing. Very interesting. But what the one kedai ni, and it is in Kota Damansara. Very wonderful kedai ni. Kedai kek dan kedai roti. Dia pergi WhatsApp pada siapa yang dia boleh ni. Dan dia kata, saya ada roti ni, saya beli ni, saya bagi. Dan saya boleh hantarkan ke rumah. You imagine. Dia tahu kita tak boleh keluar, mereka datang kepada kita. Just very fast thinking.
Betul. So, it's just about providing the infra lah, kan? Infra dan dia tahu benda tu in demand. So also have to kalau kita bersedia, kalau kita dwell into that, that circle, then we will be able to look and see the opportunity.
Betul.
Oh, wonderful Monday afternoon, Monday evening discussion. I call this uplifting Monday, kan? Uplifting Monday.
It is uplifting.
Usually Monday is orang kaitkan dengan Monday blues. Tapi dengan MCO sekarang ni, saya rasa Monday ke Tuesday ke Friday ke Sunday ke is the same day.
Betul.
Betul I hope that this conversation, this discussion about, I think there's a lot of insights and takeaways daripada Ibu will help you out there as entrepreneurs. And even if you are working pun, I hope this is something that you can use to uplift your spirit. And a lot of things yang kita boleh buat. So before kita end the session lah Ibu, mungkin you boleh share some key takeaways. Something that if people are in a situation where they're still spiraling or people are still looking, still cannot find the cheese move. Okay, so diorang dah mungkin masih lagi mencari. Is there any quick 3 points or takeaways that Ibu boleh share?
Sebenarnya kan gini, Ibu memang terfikir perkara itu. Sebenarnya the most very important, yes, I did say that we go to the client. But point that Ibu nak cakap is that the client will come to you when you do these two things.
Oh,
insyaAllah
saya tulis the client will come to you.
Client will come to you and bring money.
Okay.
And bring money, when you do this, especially one thing, when you do business to serve others. Key. You do business because you nak serve others. Kedua, then you count your blessings. Every day bangun tidur tengok apa yang ada dan terus bersyukur.
Gratitude.
The attitude of gratitude. Instead of kata, saya tengok buka almari baju masih banyak. Buka petais makanan masih ada. Because when you risau, you are sebenarnya menutup pintu-pintu rezeki.
Tapi, Ibu, macam entrepreneur akan tanya, bukan non-entrepreneur pun akan tanya, how not to worry? How not to worry?
Live in the present moment. You count your blessing because you are worried on something that might or might not happen. And do not read all those prediction that is just prediction. Ada black swan lah, swan lah, yellow swan lah, pink swan lah. Tak payah baca benda tu. Those happen during the other depression. Learn from that mistakes. First part of the mistake was holding barang. Tak nak. Yes, holding barang. Cuba tengok sekarang ni kat Malaysia macam mana. Kita tengok orang yang sangat pemurah. Masa zaman COVID ni ramai yang rise up and memberi. That's one of the reason why this country is able to sustain. Ramai memang ada yang tak dapat sebab it's not because tak ada orang nak memberi. Yang tak dapat tu kerana tak sampai. Tak sampai. Tapi cuba tengok, because bila kita dalam keadaan yang risau ni, you know what is risau? Takut dalam bahasa English the fear. Fear ni pendek kepada false evidence appearing real.
False evidence appearing real.
Dan ibu ambil belajar ni daripada Datuk Dr. Lawrence Walter Ng. Masa ibu awal-awal dia jadi trainer dia. Dan itu yang dia cakap, yang ibu kata, oh Masya Allah. All this while I was a worrier. And I learned about controlling that part in my mind. Live in the present moment. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. The book The Power of Now. Yang tulis New Earth tu. Eckhart Tolle yang tulis New Earth. Satu masa tu Oprah sangat ni. And that Eckhart Tolle before that tulis buku The Power of Now. The Power of Now is about bersyukur and count the blessing that you have now. No, just to look into the extreme lah, Tini. Do you know what is going to happen immediate after this program? Do you know what is going to happen?
I don't know. I'm thinking already 6:15. What am I going to cook for dinner?
Yes. You just have a prediction.
A prediction, yes.
You don't know.
Tak sure lah.
You don't know for sure. So how can we be so certain that kita akan, benda buruk tu akan berlaku pada kita? So this is the power of the power of prayers. Ya, dalam buku Enlightenment, kalau ibu tak silap nama siapa penulis dia, she experienced 12 minutes of death.
Orang panggil ni ada dia punya term, near death experience.
Near death. It wasn't a near death experience.
A death. He experienced death. Okay.
Memang orang sebut near death, but actually it is a death lah. Dia memang tak bernyawa for 12 minutes, and dia travel, and masa dia travel tu, dia kebanyakan ada orang yang experience that, dia orang balik ke dunia, dia orang cannot remember. But she was in a way Allah nak bagi, mungkin Allah nak bagi pada kita.
Is this a lady?
Yes, a lady, yes.
A lady. So she's a doctor, isn't it?
No, she is not.
She's a surgeon? Okay, never mind. There's a similar book by a doctor who...
Ibu tak ingat nama. Enlightenment. I just escape my ni. Dalam buku ibu Love World, ibu mention pasal dia. Tak ingat nama dia. Okay. Buku pun tak ada kat sini. So, dia nampak, she was given this opportunity to see the light of prayers that go up to the sky. Ada yang sangat, ada yang sangat besar sangat. Yes. So, yeah, as a Muslim, we know this. Yeah, we know this. As a believer in whatever religion, we know this. So what have we been praying? Because our prayer can be what we said and what we don't say. For example, if we are all the time worry and saying that susah nanti ni, masa COVID ni susah, ramai ni orang gini-gini apa semua. Matilah apa semua. That is prayers too. And prayers at mental level, emotional level, lagilah kuat. Imam Al-Ghazali telah mengatakan bahawa bila ada satu pemikiran wujud di dalam pemikiran kita, dikuatkan dengan kegairahan dalam hati kita, maka akan timbul satu molekul di dalam alam nyata. The formless become form. So when we understand the law of the universe, cara Allah govern di dunia ni, apa kata instead of kita memikirkan betapa teruknya semua orang akan jadi masa COVID ni, apa kata kita ramai-ramai fikir COVID ni mendatangkan banyak kebaikan. So sungai-sungai baru akan timbul.
I think saya ada terbaca konsep ni, Ibu. This is called collective consciousness, right?
Call it my mass consciousness, yes. Collective. Mass consciousness atau collective, yes, betul.
Kalau kita ramai-ramai risaulah jadinya. Tapi kalau kita ramai-ramai have this positivity, we will go through it together, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And kita duduk dalam the right circle, Tini. You do not feel the cheese has been moved. You will see a lot of cheese. I'm telling you this because Alhamdulillah, because pertama ibu amalkan this bersyukur ni. I count my blessing masa COVID tu, ibu the first part of COVID, the first MCO tu, I amalkan, and I was almost in the first few days I was really risau dengan my training business. Apa nak jadi, and then Yalah, tahulah kita kereta masih dengan bank, rumah masih lama je rumah kita tapi bank punya kan. Tu. But at that time I was so fearful. And then sampai satu kali, what? I am a believer. Why is it that I forgot God? So ibu tukar mindset mayang, yes. Right. Solat, betul-betul minta pertolongan pada Allah apa semua. And then I go into serving. Ibu buat live lah. Dan masa MCO yang pertama ibu banyak buat live. Buat live untuk bantu orang keluar daripada keresahan itu. Right. Then Allah jumpakan dengan satu bentuk bisnes yang when I go in that business, they're not even talking about anything that is fearful. We're just talking about macam mana kita nak bantu lagi ramai orang.
Nice.
Right?
So there is an answer when we actually believe kan, macam kita positive. So dia akan come to us. Yes. So with that, thank you so much Ibu. So I'll just recap. Okay, saya cakap minta one or two kan.
Ibu nak cerita pasal program Ibu tu kalau
Yes. So before we go into, mungkin saya rasa dalam perkongsian about 45 minutes ni, actually there's so much to go into. So I will talk about Ibu ada special program. But before that, just to recap what we can do as entrepreneurs to manage our worry, to manage our anxiety kan, so that we are not rasa susah hati. It's all that. It's the big why. Ibu cakap tadi, do business to serve others. Gratitude count our blessing. Okay.
Live in present moment.
The present moment, being worry does not serve us. So why you want to worry? And of course prayers. Prayers, I have to prayers. So with that, kalau ada yang nak info dengan lebih lanjut, so this is the program that Ibu ada.
Yes, this program is to help ladies. This program is to help ladies, especially ladies yang they want to be more empowered. And they want to heal from the past, because one of the reasons why people go into fear, because they have not healed from the past. Jadi benda tu trigger. Bila benda berlaku macam ni, dia trigger. Bila dia trigger, they go into down spiral. Somebody that is healed, dia akan nampak the blessing.
So Ibu will do this. Okay, can you just share a little bit about when is this starting and what's the kind of module and what kind of support that you give?
Okay, it will start on the 15th of December. Dan kita sedang ambil registration. Registration link akan share kat sini. Dan tertulis itu fee cuma 190 untuk 30 hari bersama Ibu. It's not
every day.
Yeah, it is every day, and every day you will receive motivation from me, guidance from me. I will guide you, and 2 kali seminggu will be live. I'll be first, the life is about you understanding who you are, accepting who you are. The second week is about appreciating who you are, appreciating things that's around you. Things that around, because when you accept, most people they don't accept themselves, so they only nampak yang because dia orang nampak yang buruk, jadi dia orang rasa bad, padahalnya buruk itu ada juga baik dia. So and then to heal yourself, to move towards, bila you accept then you will find that you move from there is a 4 level of healing tu. You move from the place of whereby you jadi macam duduk dalam keadaan macam dendam yang you tak sedar sebenarnya. Kalau you selalu marah-marah anak for no reason ni, kalau you cepat jadi dengan anak tu cepat, that is one of the sign of that you are not healed yet. That's what happened dengan Ibu masa yang tu, yang cerita kat KFC tu. Masa itu Ibu felt that I was a failure, and because of that I dengan anak ni macam jadi singa. So dalam business
macam mana tak jadi singa kalau dalam bersepah-sepah?
Because it is outside in. It is outside in, it is not inside out. Right? Kita nampak kat luar tu sebab yang dalam ni kita tu tak nampak anak bersepahkan barang, that shows ada anak yang aktif.
Yeah, so that's the other way to look at it, kan?
Yes. So dalam this program,
you.
Alhamdulillah.
Today I will talk to them very sweetly, okay?
Yes, you need to, maybe you can join us. Dan apa yang ibu selalu dan alhamdulillah ibu tak ambil ramai sini, because it is a process of healing. Dan memang the program akan end with a healing punya, the real healing. Maksudnya they go through with me online and heal. Alhamdulillah. Dan in fact separuh dalam 20 hari ataupun 15 hari go through. Ada yang 7 hari go through. Anak-anak dulu takut datang peluk and say I love you.
Oh, okay.
Anak-anak jadi husband pun tiba-tiba rajin duduk rumah. Sekarang ni memang MCO kena duduk rumah je lah kan. But duduk rumah tak kelahi.
Yeah.
You know. So
it helps lah.
Because kita dengan diri kita.
Kita affect. It's an ecosystem. So kalau nak tahu lebih lanjut, I think boleh juga check out Facebook Ibu. There's a link there. Asfiq dah share dekat situ. You can
Nas Asfiq ni dia dah 10 2 kali round. Oh, by the way, you masuk sekali, it is live. Sampai ibu tak ada dah. So you boleh masuk berkali-kali, sekali kan kita akan ambil batch 5. Bila ibu start batch 5 ni, batch 1 akan masuk juga sekali.
So if you're an alumni, you are part of the networking, so boleh repeat kelas lah.
Tak payah bayar apa-apa dah.
Alright, thank you so much Ibu. Wonderful sharing for our Monday uplifting session hari ini. Rise the Bold Friends and Founder. Pada anda semua, thank you so much for watching. Yasmin Sari siap bagi siap bagi summary lagi tu untuk klien. Welcome to you how if you do two things. Alin Hashim said, Alhamdulillah, let's heal ourselves. And I call this spiritual entrepreneur perlu melihat sektor-sektor ini jugalah selain daripada the physical sector yang will help the businesses, right? Like business model lah, macam mana nak make cash flow tapi there's also a spiritual side of entrepreneurship.
The spiritual business, what was it that you
spiritual entrepreneurship? Yeah,
I like that word. Spiritual entrepreneurship.
It's not my word. Ibu, I found it on Google and all that. Ada banyak juga guru-guru yang actually go with the spiritual entrepreneurship. Yeah. So thank you so much once again pada anda semua. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to on Wednesday kita ada Rina Nyo dan juga Joanne Kampopo, okay, yang mana mereka akan bercakap juga pasal the resilience and mindset juga pasal entrepreneurship. And Joanne, as you know, dia ada stand up comedy. Bagaimana pula dia terkesan juga dengan kesan COVID ini. So thank you so much. Apa-apa saja, just comment and check out our Facebook dan juga our Instagram. Ibu, thank you so much.
Thank you. Dan Ibu minta maaf kalau tersilap cakap, terguris hati. I'm giving you my love.
Assalamualaikum dan selamat petang.